So my name is Shazir Haque. I'm 28 years old. I'm the founder and executive director of Shizzy's Wildcat Rescue. We are building a big cat sanctuary for tigers, lions, jaguars, bears, wolves, and birds in Columbus County on 56 acres. We currently own 4 buildings, and we also have access to the Lumber River as well. So we have a pretty nice property out there. We have about 18 acres of highland, and everything else out there is wetland, so we'll be able to rescue some various variety of animals out there.
Awesome.
Nice. How did you get started in this?
So in 2013, I was a broke college student, and I took a trip to a facility called Carolina Tiger Rescue. And this is down in Pittsboro, North Carolina, so about an hour away from Greensboro here. And I met a blind tiger named Nitro. And my parents were always like the typical brown people parents where they were like, "Are you a doctor yet?" And so education was very, very important to them. So they said, whatever you do for your animal passion has got to be later in life. And whenever I met Nitro, he ended up passing away a couple weeks after I met him.
Oh, wow.
And that just hit me so hard. And I was, I had no money at the time, no job. So I went back to Carolina Tiger Rescue, and I actually overdrafted my bank account to buy the last photo of him in the gift shop. And I still keep that up today, just as a reminder of why we started. And just like one of the lowest points in my life where I was like, man, I want to get away from focusing just on education. And I started reaching out to different entrepreneurs and businessmen and realized you can do more than one thing at one time if you work hard enough to do it.
That's right.
So I decided I was going to get through school, get my master's degree, and still try to get through with a nonprofit as much as we possibly could. I graduated with my master's degree in August, and a week later we closed on that 56-acre property, so it was perfect time. And so
Nice.
it ended up working out that route. But yeah, Nitro is the one that started the whole thing.
Now, what was your academic? What were your academic studies?
Computer science, history, and then I got a master's in school administration. So I was the intern assistant principal at Page High School for a year.
Okay.
And I'm very big on wanting to help students and get a curriculum that's actually rigorous enough for them to go forward. Most of the students that we see now in college, they have a lack of reading and writing skills, which is the main component of doing well in school to begin with. But I didn't think being at Page High School was the best use of my time to be able to impact that. So I joined the 5-1 Foundation, and they're raising funds right now to build a private school. So we thought that that might be a better venture to try to dictate what the curriculum might be, what type of meals the students get, what type of time that they put their activities into, things like that.
That's awesome.
Great.
Where's that going to be?
It's a startup project right now. It started 7 years ago, and there's some phenomenal people on it. Jermaine McCain is one of them. He's one of our board members as well. So Jermaine was actually a business banker. He has his PhD now. He was working at Wells Fargo. So whenever I first started the organization, I had to go get a business bank account, and I didn't even have enough money to do that because I had an overdraft account because I went to go to Wells Fargo right after I bought that photo of Nitro. So he actually helped me open one up, bypassing that, saying, man, I think you'll do well. And so I stayed in touch with him, and we just kind of feed off of each other's passions. He's very passionate about students and making sure that schools are equitable, and I'm very passionate about animal welfare, so we get together and during board meetings we talk about everything and figure out what do you need for your project, what do I need for mine, what ways can we benefit each other, what contacts do we have, what funding sources do we have that you haven't utilized that I have, and vice versa. Just a little mastermind session between us at the end of every board meeting, so it's been pretty good.
That's awesome.
That's great. So did you did you have any interest in animals or big cats before 2013, or was that?
Yeah, absolutely. So whenever I first moved to the United States, I was 4 years old and I didn't speak a lick of English. But you don't need a language to talk to animals. So, I always asked my parents, can I have a cat, can I have a dog? And the answer was always no. So whenever I got some friends, I would always go to the house, and it would be like the coolest thing ever that they have like a animal that greets them. And I was like, man, these guys aren't so bad. And I just started learning more and more about animal welfare and realizing all the horrible stuff that happens to them as a result of either tourism or products that are created in the market, and the different ways in which people think that they're valuable for their body parts, and et cetera, et cetera. And this is the exotic animal trade. And it went from one thing to another, and I was very passionate about it. And for years, I wanted to do something, but I was like, man, I'm just a kid. How do I do anything? And I just realized, man, there's so many people that can just get through that adversity at a young age. And so it started probably when I was 7 years old. I went to the library and got this book on lions, African lions, and the librarian let me keep it. So I still have that book right now at the house. It's in horrible condition. She was like, we can't even use this anymore. You can just keep it. There are pages missing from it, but I loved it. So I learned a lot about animals from that book, and that kind of created the passion. But I love to read at a young age, so that generated a lot of excitement
Yeah,
towards
that's good.
animals as well.
Did you have any exposure to this type of wildlife in Pakistan?
No, not at all. I don't think I was old enough to. I'm sure if I would have stayed long enough, I would have went
Yeah.
on like some safaris.
How old did you say you were?
I was 4 years old.
Oh,
when I
4.
moved.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been in the United States for 24 years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't remember much about it. I've only been back
Right.
once.
Okay.
So
I've got one that's about to be 4 in May. My youngest son, Cameron, and I just sit here and think about that. Like if I went to a different country today, it's very similar. You know,
Yeah.
it'd be a culture shock for him because, you know, I mean, he definitely speaks. So to learn a whole new language and to start and speaking to you, I would never know that you spoke a different language. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, I think I came here young enough to where it wouldn't
Yeah.
matter. But
Well, 4. Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, I barely spoke whatever the other language was then.
might have made it easier, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess you learned faster. You and your sister learned faster than your parents did, I'm sure.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
absolutely.
tough for us when we first got here. Basically came here with just a suitcase. Just
Wow.
relied on our family support, and we had some good support.
Yeah.
But adjusting and getting an apartment and trying to get a car and
Yeah.
stuff like that was difficult. But looking back on it, I mean, it's amazing the move my dad made to sacrifice his business there to bring us here, to let go of the family there, and to see what we've accomplished. She has 3 degrees and she's an attorney in
Wow.
Wow.
Arkansas.
That's amazing.
She is your mom or your sister?
Sister.
Sister. That's awesome.
And my mom works at central office now in Greensboro, so she works for the school system.
Okay.
And my dad just retired now, so he's being taken care of by us and enjoying life. So it's good. I mean, the fact that he did all that, looking back, it's a phenomenal decision.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, how old were you when you started your Wildcat rescue, or when you started the project?
21 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was a I was a student at a UNCG, and I was getting ready to transfer to Charlotte UNCC to do a computer science degree because they had a better one there at the time. And I reached out to Dr. Akira Khan and Daniel Foster, some really cool people, and throughout my entire short-lived career in animal welfare, because I'm young right now, but I had no ego. If there was someone that was willing to help and they brought something to the different table, I wanted to pick your brain and figure out how you did something, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, so that I'm not in favor of making mistakes twice or learning lessons twice.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
learning lessons that someone else has already learned in my inner circle. And they sat me down and gave me these projects that I just thought were so colossal at the time. And looking back, I mean, they were the easiest things ever. Like, you got to get 501c3, and you got to get your articles of incorporation done, and you got to get your EIN number. And I was like, man, how are we going to do any of this stuff? And it was just paperwork. But
Yeah,
at the time,
simple,
it's such huge, colossal things to do. So 21 years old, we did that stuff. Jermaine McCain helped out, and I just kind of sucked people into the project, and they got very passionate about it because they saw how passionate I was, and it just turned into a beautiful thing where they've stuck with me the whole time.